Your brain is not addicted to your phone or sugar or even dopamine the way people love to say. It's addicted to something far simpler and far more powerful, something you do every single day without noticing. And this hidden addiction is silently stealing your focus, draining your motivation, and shaping your identity, 30 seconds at a time. But once you learn how to flip it, once you understand how to use those same 30 seconds the right way, you can create instant clarity, instant confidence, and instant control over your mind. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how to do it. Because the final habit I'm about to reveal is the one that decides whether your brain keeps repeating the same painful loops for years or finally becomes your greatest advantage. Let's start with habit number 1, the 30-second moment after a thought appears. Ask yourself this: when a negative thought pops into your mind, what do you normally do? You don't notice it, you don't question it, and you don't interrupt it. You simply let it sit there, and your brain, almost like a loyal servant, accepts it as truth because the brain doesn't care if a thought is helpful or harmful, accurate or ridiculous. The only thing it cares about is repetition. A thought repeated becomes an emotion. An emotion repeated becomes an identity. An identity repeated becomes behavior. That's how your brain gets addicted, not to the thought itself, but to the cycle it creates. But here's the switch. The moment a thought appears, for just 30 seconds, say this in your mind or out loud. Interesting. That's just a thought. That's it. You're not fighting it, you're not suppressing it, you're not replacing it with fake positivity. You're simply labeling it, and that tiny label creates psychological distance. Suddenly, the thought is not you. It's something you're observing. That single 30-second interruption breaks the addiction loop your brain tends to fall into automatically. People think mindset change takes months, but most of the time it takes one moment of interruption, and that interruption happens in the first 30 seconds after a thought appears. Habit number 2, the 30-second breath that resets your nervous system. Most people live in constant stress mode, not because life is always hard, but because their breathing is always sending a false alarm. Shallow breaths, chest breathing, fast inhales. Your brain interprets every one of those signals as danger, even when nothing is actually wrong. A stressed brain produces fog, tension, emotional heaviness, and exhaustion. The habit your brain is addicted to is fast breathing, which equals constant alert mode. Here's the 30-second fix. Inhale deeply through your nose for 4 seconds, hold for 2, and exhale through your mouth for 6. That's it. When your exhale is longer than your inhale, your nervous system immediately receives the message, we're safe. And when your brain feels safe, it unlocks clarity instead of chaos, focus instead of fear, energy instead of depletion. This isn't meditation, it's biology. Your nervous system listens to your breath before it listens to your thoughts. Do this for 30 seconds and your brain chemistry begins changing instantly. Habit number 3, the 30-second rule that destroys procrastination. You've heard people say procrastination is laziness, but that's wrong. Procrastination is emotional avoidance. When your brain sees a task, it doesn't say this is hard, it says this feels uncomfortable, so it looks for immediate relief. Your phone, food, scrolling, distractions, and that relief becomes addictive because it gives your brain a tiny hit of comfort. But here's the truth. You don't need motivation to break procrastination, you need momentum. So when you don't feel like doing something, commit to 30 seconds only. Open the document. Write 1 sentence. Do 1 push-up. Wash 1 plate. Send 1 email. The moment your brain realizes the task is small, the emotional threat disappears. And once you begin, your brain switches from resistance to engagement. Most of the time, you'll keep going. And even when you don't, you've trained your brain that starting is safe. That breaks the addiction to avoidance. Habit number 4, the 30 seconds that rewire your self-image. Your brain is addicted to the version of you it already knows, even if that version is tired, unmotivated, or stuck, because familiar equals safe. So if you keep seeing yourself as the person who struggles, your brain will defend that identity. But here's how you interrupt it. For 30 seconds every day, visualize 1 small, realistic win. Not a fantasy mansion, not a dream car, not the perfect life, but something achievable and believable. Picture yourself finishing a task, staying calm in a situation that normally stresses you, choosing discipline over distraction, or simply showing up the way you wish you did. Your brain does not distinguish between imagination and experience. It stores both as memory. So every visualization becomes evidence, and evidence shapes identity. Repeat this for 30 seconds a day, and your brain starts expecting success instead of avoiding it. Habit number 5, the 30 seconds that decide who you become. This is the habit that almost no one talks about, and if you skip it, none of the other habits will stick. Your brain is not addicted to how moments begin. It is addicted to how moments end. The last 30 seconds of any experience, your day, your workout, your effort, your failure, is what your brain remembers, and what your brain remembers becomes your story. Most people end moments with guilt, distraction, shame, or stress, and their brain learns, this is who we are. But here's the habit that rewires everything. After you finish anything meaningful, pause for 30 seconds and acknowledge one thing you did right. One action, one effort, one decision, one improvement. That tiny moment teaches your brain, this behavior matters, and your brain repeats whatever it rewards. This habit is the difference between temporary progress and permanent change. Miss it and you stay addicted to old patterns. Use it and your brain begins working for you instead of against you. So here's the truth. Your brain isn't broken, you're not unmotivated, you're not stuck. You're simply repeating tiny unconscious habits for more than 30 seconds every day. And now that you understand how powerful that window is, you can interrupt negative thoughts in seconds, calm your nervous system on demand, start any task without waiting for motivation, reshape your identity with intention, and lock in progress instead of losing it. You don't need hours of routines, you don't need complex systems, and you don't need perfect discipline. You just need 30 seconds at a time. And if you're ready to start rewiring your brain instead of repeating your past, make sure you subscribe to the Knownsense, because here we teach you how to understand your mind, master your patterns, and finally, become the version of yourself you've always known you could be. 1 minute, one habit, and one 30-second shift at a time.